Hello, it's Brigit here. I'm one of the Pilates instructors for Silverfit, and today we're going to do a session to energize tired legs. So even if you haven't got tired legs, it's still a really nice one because it kind of helps with the circulation. It just flushes them out a little bit, so your legs should feel a little bit more energized and springy at the end of the session. Okay, so we are going to start off on our hands and knees, and we're just going to start off with a cat-cow stretch. So get plugged into the floor. You want to knuckle in with the knuckles of your fingers, press your shins, or if you've got tight ankles, just do as best you can to kind of press your shins and your lower legs into the mat. And as you exhale, arching that upper back, and as you inhale, you're going to keep your pelvis in neutral, but just start to get some extension in your spine. Try not to collapse into the neck. Exhale, and then inhale. And we'll do one more. Exhale, and inhale. Inhaling through your nose. And then come back into a tabletop position. And you're going to extend your left leg, tucking your left toes under. And we're just going to start to float forwards and backwards. Now, if this is a bit too much for your wrists, you could come down onto your forearms, taking the load off your wrists. Try to avoid tension in your shoulders and try to avoid dangling the head. Okay, so I'm very naughty here, dangling my head. Okay, so we'll just do a few more like that. You might want to add some circles, just to kind of get into the different bits of the calf there. Okay, and now we're here, and we're going to kind of come back a little, kind of get a little bit of spring, and then we're going to propel ourselves forwards, floating the leg off. There we go. And one more. So you get this nice kind of like you're taking flight. And then release. We'll sit back on our heels for a child's pose. Just take the weight off your wrists, and then we're coming back onto the other side. We're going to extend the right leg, and then we're just going for that stretch into the calf. Again, you could come onto your forearms, or you could maybe try a fist hand. You can put in your variations with the stretch, different foot position, little circles, whatever feels nice. And then if you get a nice purchase with the floor and your wrists aren't suffering too much, we'll just kind of take that little float forwards. Get some tension here. You want a bit of recoil, and then you're floating forwards. Feels nice. Okay, and then release out of that. So we're just going to cross at the ankles. Well, actually, you could cross at the ankles and sit back and float your feet forwards, or you can just move your bum over to one side and then just sweep your legs round like so. Okay, so we've got a number of options, but however you play it, we're going to meet in this position, but we're going to bend the knees. Now, I'll just turn to face you so you can see what I'm doing. So we've got quite wide legs here, and then we're just going to windscreen wiper the legs from side to side. Opening out those hips. Okay, and now the knees go over to one side. So my knees are over to the right, and I'm going to grab hold of my left leg, and I'm just going to open and close a little bit more. And you might find that you're very limited in your range. So if you're limited, try not to force the hips open. And also try and activate your muscles here. So if you did it without your hand, and you're doing it with your own strength, we want to initiate some action from within. And the hand here, it's just kind of given us a little assist, just to get a little bit deeper. Okay, and then we're over to the other side. If this doesn't feel good, you can leave it out, or you could maybe work lying down. Okay, lying down will ease off the pressure a little bit. If you're all right sitting, well, like this. And you may well find that one hip is more limber than the other. Now Now, if you've got arthritis or had a hip replacement, or you've got anything going on in the hip, osteoporosis, just be very mindful that you're not overdoing it. And actually, you might be better off not using the hand and just kind of using your own strength, because then your muscles have got to be doing the job. So we'll swivel around, and then we're going to bring our hips and our knees and our feet so they're tracking in line. Sit up, and then we're going to reach up, and then we're going to take a big dive forwards, and you're just going to take a part roll down. You can use your hands on your thighs, and that's absolutely fine. We want to have a dish shape, so we're scooping out here, shoulders are broad, chest is proud, and then we roll back up again. Now, I'm going to offer you an alternative position with the lower body here, where you can bring the soles of your feet together and the knees are apart, okay? And you might need to adjust it a little bit so you can get something comfortable. But if your feet are together, we're going to have another challenge here because we are really reducing our base of support here, okay? But we're going to do the same roll down. So we reach up, we reach forwards, and you take that part roll down. Notice how there might be a bit of a wibble wobble. You can use your legs to give you some support. And then we roll back up again. We sit up to recover. And then we're going to reach up and we're going to dive over. Nudging down a little bit lower this time. Looking at your hips. We need to control that little rock. And then rolling up. Sitting up to recover. And we're just going to with our thumb, we're just going to massage the instep of the foot, okay? Little rub, little massage, just for the plantar fascia, okay? If you need to relax one leg and do one foot at a time, again, that's fine, okay? One leg at a time will kind of take the pressure off a little bit. But it's very nice to give our feet a bit of a wake up. Okay, and then our feet are flat on the floor. We're going to roll all the way down. You can take your pick. You can have your legs on train tracks, or you can do this position. Okay, and then we're going to reach up. We're going to reach over all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. And then when you're down on the floor, take a full body stretch. And a full body yawn. And then bend your knees. Feet are flat on the floor, and we're going to bring up the right leg, and we're going to keep our knee bent for this one, and we want to have a 90-degree angle behind the knee. And our spine, we're going to imprint the spine, so think about lengthening between your tail and your crown. So we're closing off the gap here. Your arms can be here like brakes, or if you want more of a challenge, you can have crucifix arms. We imagine we have charcoal on our knee, and we're going to circle. And you really want to feel your core abdominals working. So you can place your hands on your belly here just to check the muscles are playing. 3, 2, and 1. And then change direction. Remember, charcoal on the knee, and you're drawing circles in space. And watch out that your leg isn't doing this when you're working. So you want to keep, it's like your leg is in a cast and your pelvis is really stable. So it's that very sort of Pilates feeling where you have this moving part, but the rest of you is still. Okay, and we'll finish that off, shake out the leg, maybe give it a stretch, and then we put the leg back. And then the other leg is working. So again, just to check in that the foot isn't flailing side to side, we want to keep everything all in alignment there. So imaginary charcoal, lengthening the spine is an imprint, and we go for that circling action. So the torque here is at the hip. Now I've noticed straight away for me that this is trickier on this side. So I'm having to work harder to stabilise myself. And I also have to work harder to keep the motion good quality. It's not coming so naturally. Okay, and then we change direction. to get a lot of feedback. And we'll just do 2 more. One more. And shake out that leg. Okay, so we'll give the legs a little shake, and then we're going to bend the left leg, and we're going to stretch the right arm and the right leg. We're stretching right arm, right leg, and then you're going to roll over onto your right side. A little transition. Okay, now I've just actually rolled off my mat, so I'm going to roll back onto it, shimmy back onto it. Okay, so we are in this position where our top leg is sort of, the foot is behind our bottom leg. Now it's an open hip position, and it might not be suitable for everyone. If you find this a little bit too much, or it's kind of making you contort a little bit, get an object, if you've got one, a ball or even a cushion or a couple of books, and you can prop your knee on the object so that you're not rolling forwards. Okay, so that's an option for you there. Otherwise, we have the foot behind us. And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to really lengthen the underneath leg, and you lengthen it to the point that it actually floats off the floor, and then you come back down again. Okay, and you lengthen, and work, inner thigh is working here. And as a point of sort of good form, we don't want to sickle the foot. So I'm just sickling my foot there, so you can see that that's what we don't do. Okay, it's just, you want to keep your foot in a straight line from your shin. And we don't want to leave our knee behind. So you get this nice kind of, your inner thigh, it's like a draw cord right up to your navel. And you should feel those inner thigh muscles coming into play. And we lift it and we hold it, and we're pulsing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold it. And release the foot back down. Release the leg back down. Now, this is going to be our still leg, but we don't want it to be floppy. We want it energized. So we press into the foot, or the ball of the foot. And now your top foot, it comes to here. You might be more like this. It depends on your mobility of your hips. And we're just going to hinge a few times and feel those core muscles working. Just kind of getting a feel for what's happening there. And then place the foot back here. Now, there's no pressure on the knee. It's super light. We're not putting any pressure on the knee. And then we close, and then we open. And we close, it's a clam. And as you open, squeeze your bum, just make sure your glute's working. If it's too much, soften the underneath leg and just kind of have a play. Okay, and then we're here. And then we're going to come into side bicycles. We'll just do 3, 2. Can you hear that creaking and cracking in my leg there? Okay, and 1. And then we change direction for 3, 2, and 1. Okay, now at the top, you might get to here, or you might be more like this, okay? Or you might be more like this, but we're just going to pulse, 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 and release. Shake out the leg, shake out the leg, shake out the leg. Activate this quad, and then you're going to roll back over onto your front. And then we're going to roll over to the other side. So we're going to bend the other leg, okay? And then you're going to roll over like so. So we should be in the, I'm just going to shimmy around so you can actually see me, okay? Otherwise I'm talking away from the camera and you won't be able to hear me. But now we've got the other leg up like so, okay? So we're going to activate that inner thigh, and as you exhale, lengthen the leg, activate that inner thigh. We still want our side waist here. We don't want to be like a blancmange in our centre, okay? And then release, and then repeat. You can have your head in this position. If you prefer, you can pop your head on a cushion or a prop if it gives you better alignment and you can focus more on the task in hand. I'm just going to move a little bit further back so I can see what I'm doing here. Okay, now we'll hold the leg there. Make sure your side waist is here. We don't want the ribs hanging out, so we're really zipping, and then pulse, 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 pulse. Hold it, hold it, hold it. And release. Okay, you might want to adjust yourself a little bit. Okay, so you can maybe bring that bottom leg forwards just to stop yourself from sort of rolling over. Okay, and again, we just check in with our alignment. Our core is on, super light with the tippy toes on the inside of the knee, no pressure. And then we're opening and so we're just like hinging the hip. Now you want to get your butt muscles involved here, because otherwise it can get very, very tight and grippy around the hip flexors. If you need to soften the leg a little bit, a softer bend in the knee might sort that out. Okay, and then we're going to plan, close and open. And as you close, imagine you're pressing down on a spring, and as you open, get your glute meads working. Okay, so we want the full sort of 360 engagement around the hips, not just kind of gripping onto tight muscles. We'll do one more like that. Okay, and then we're doing our side bicycles for 3, 2, and 1. We hold it there, we go in reverse for 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and we're here, and we're just going to do those little pulses. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Shake it, shake it, shake it. Activate this quad, roll onto your front. It feels quite intense. And then we're going to I'm going to talk this one through and then I'll do it. Otherwise I'll just be mumbling into my mat. So we have our forehead on the floor and our arms are in a capital E position and our core is really engaged. So we want to activate our inner corset, maybe a little tilt like that. So draw those abdominals in and up, tailbone shooting down, legs are active. And this is a given, okay? Our forehead will be on the floor. And we're lifting our arms, okay? So that's part 1. Part 2 is where we press into our arms and we hover the upper body off the floor. Okay, and then we release, keep your core on the whole time. Lift the arms. And hover the upper body. So we're combining 2 moves. Keep your core on the whole time. This is the exhale. I'm just going to leave my head hovering whilst I explain. This is the exhale when you lift the arms. Inhale as you release. Exhale as you lengthen, as you hover the upper body off the floor, keeping your core on. Inhale as you release. With your arm alignment, we don't want this where the elbow is higher. Okay, this is what most of us will probably end up doing because this is how we default. We want this. Okay, so when you're moving your arms, keep them level. You don't want the elbow popping up because the shoulder's kind of collapsing forwards. Okay, so if you notice you've got this, sort it out from your shoulders. Good. Now we'll release. We'll place our forehead on our hand pillow. Wiggle your hips from side to side. Now I'm going to give you 2 options here, and one is more energetic than the other. Okay, but they're both quite energetic. So we've got the marble under the nose. We're rolling it forwards. Lifting up, hovering. Okay, this is option A. If it's too much, keep your forearms on the floor. Okay, option B is we're pressing ourselves up and we're rolling. Okay, and then when you've finished, let's come into child's pose. Take a lovely juicy stretch here. And really, really breathe. In child's pose, really breathe into the back of your rib cage, all the way down to the bottom of the rib cage. Maximum expansion. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling, if you can, also through the nose. And then scrape your hands back and just flick the air away and bring yourself up into a kneeling position. And then we're going to shimmy the legs over. And actually, let's do it the other way. So whichever you would default to, we'll do it the other way. Okay, lots of symmetry there. So we're going to have our feet flexed. Now, we want to press into our heels as opposed to bringing our shoelaces towards our shins. And the difference is that if you bring your shoelaces towards your shins, you will activate the muscles on the front of your legs. But if we kick into our heels, we activate the muscles on the back of our legs sort of as they're lengthening. It's an eccentric muscle contraction. We're getting the back of the legs to work rather than the front of the legs. We're reaching up, we're taking a dive forwards. Keep pressing into your heels as you roll back. Now, you can use your thighs for support. Be careful of your back. You can always pop your arms on the floor if you need to assist yourself onto the floor. So make sure your back is protected. Doesn't matter if you have to modify things or adjust things or even come out of things and then just come onto the floor. None of that. Just keep yourself safe because the strength will come. Okay, so we're here and we're just going to tuck our knees into our chest and we're going to circle the knees. Changing direction, circling the knees. And then bring the legs up to the ceiling. Now, I've got quite tight hamstrings. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to raise my seat because it will give my legs a little bit more freedom. So you can, if you haven't got something handy to raise your seat and you've got tight hamstrings, you might need to keep softness in the knees. So here, I'm just going to use a pillow. Just give myself a little bit of extra height. Okay, and straight away I can feel my legs are released. So I bring the legs together. You can create a wedge underneath your pelvis to give your back some added support. And now I'm going to separate the legs and then I'm going to bring them back. So it's like you're kind of doing two mirror image capital Ds. And this is great here. We're going to change direction. This is great here for... it's an inversion with our legs up in the air and it's really great for our circulation and you can feel you're getting a hip opening probably and some abdominal work going at the same time. And then release, tuck it in and you're going to shoot your left leg away from you as you bring your right leg towards you. So we're stretching and strengthening the legs at the same time. Tuck in, okay, so punctuate each stretch with a tuck and then lengthen your right leg away as you draw your left leg in. You can give a little assist with the arms, but don't overdo it. Okay, and then tuck and unravel mindfully. Okay, we're working, we want to do a job here. We don't want to just kind of default through it. And then lengthening. Now, when you're lengthening that leg away, just hold it here for a sec. When you get to a certain point, feel like you're pressing down, get your bum muscles working. So you're not just pushing away, but you're also pushing down. So you're getting sort of multi-dimensional effect here. You're working your rear muscles, as not just the front muscles. And that will give you some protection for your back. Okay, if it's too much, you can keep your leg higher up in the air where you can control it. So it just depends on the individual. But if you're going low, activate your glute. Okay, get more involved, layer more in and make more out of it. Every move has got more dimensions that are sort of obvious on the surface. Okay, and then we're here. Good, and you can have a rock from side to side. And then bring your legs back up in the air again. I'm going to take my, lower my seat again. So you can have your legs up in the air for the next one, or you can have your legs bent. This is a little bit easier. And your arms can be in a crucifix, or you could use them as breaks. So from here, we're going to just take a spinal twist. Knees hover over to the left. Keep your knees and your legs glued together. And then exhale as you come back. And then inhale as you hover the knees over to the other side. Make sure your thigh isn't one leg isn't slithering down the other thigh. And then come back. Crucifix arms is nice, it stretches out the chest, but it's more challenging. You can start to lengthen the top leg or position. So if it feels easy, or if you're just kind of going like that, that's not what we're after today. We're after more torsion, more muscle power, more firepower. Going slower is more challenging. If it's, a tiny little rotation done well is better than the big range, sort of all everything let go. Consider your spine. Just repeat that. Close your eyes and consider your spine. Your spine is like it's your axis. You don't want it kind of kinking and buckling. And then we'll just finish that one off. And we'll tuck our knees into our chest and we'll roll like a ball now, forwards and backwards if you like that, or just side to side if you prefer that. Side to side is a little bit kinder. And then we'll all meet on our backs again. And we're going to place our feet on the floor, and we're going to have our feet a little bit wider than the hip width apart. And also our knees are a little bit wider, so our knees are tracking. We don't want the knees knocking in for this one. And we're going to come up into a wide leg bridge. So inhale, and as you exhale, you're up in your bridge. And let's float the arms up and overhead. And this just kind of opens out the front body a little bit, opens out the chest. And then we're going to, you can keep your arms here or you can bring them back down here. And we're just going to imagine we've got a little clock face on our navel, and we're doing this hula hoop action, circles, really testing our stability. And we change direction. If it's too much up here in the bridge, you can do that little hula hoop action lying on your back. So rather than just hold the bridge in a sort of big flurry of clenching, we are using our stabilizers. We're sort of moving, teasing our way through the movement. Okay, and we're here. Let's come onto the balls of our feet. Keep your arms behind you if they are there. Stay on the balls of your feet and roll back down, vertebra by vertebra by vertebra by vertebra. And then when you're here, both arms, both legs up towards the ceiling, shake everything out. And then we're going to grab hold. We're going to do happy baby. And depending on how limber you are, it's also quite nice here to have your head on a cushion. If you're very limber, you can hold your feet. As you can see, look at my neck when I go for my feet. Okay, this happens. So I'm obviously not limber enough. So we need to really be honest with ourselves here. If you're super tight, you're going to be holding here, okay? And if you're medium, like me, you're going to be holding here. Because the point is, whatever position you're going for, your spine has got to be right, okay? So there's no point in going for gold if the spine's all clattering. So we're here. And then happy baby. So you can get your knees closer to your armpits. And over time, you might be able to kind of go hold higher up the leg. We don't want our tail coming up like that either. Get a nice massage for the spine here. And again, with our legs up in the air, it's great for kind of getting it's a real good circulation booster. And then we'll just come back and we'll tuck in, give ourselves a nice little hug. And I'm going to take this away. We're going to do some rollbacks, and I will show you a half rollback as a modification. So the half rollback is we're here like so, and our arms can be used as levers, and we inhale, and as we exhale, we activate the core, we're zipping up, and we just lift our scorpion tail, so a little reverse curl, and then we come back. And we are very much trying to not bounce and judder, so we're not like that, okay? So it's micro movements here, micro movements. It's a sensation, and if you can get a physical movement in, that's absolutely fine. And if it's just a squeeze, then that's also absolutely fine. But you don't want to kind of be throwing yourself around and juddering up into the neck. So this is our half version. Our full version is this. We will cross the ankles And you can start off with your legs low if you really want to challenge yourself. And we inhale, and as we exhale, we come here and we just start to get this feeling of pressing the feet up towards the ceiling, up and over. Part your legs so that they're hip width apart, rolling back down, using those arms. Don't look left and right here. Make sure your gaze is up towards the ceiling. And then cross the ankles. Inhale, you can bend your knees. Inhale, exhale, up and over. Careful of neck, don't look left and right. Part your legs so that they're hip width apart. Strong legs, keep pressing into the heels, keep pressing into the heels. Coming back down. Okay, so that's pretty challenging, okay? And we place our feet on the floor. We'll all meet here with our feet on the floor. And very, very gently, just move your head from side to side. Releasing any tension in the neck. And then we just shrug and release the shoulders, shrug and release the shoulders. Okay, so make your feet nice and wide. We're going to, with our right leg, we're going to keep our left leg completely still. And with our right leg, we're going to just knock the knee in. So we're getting a good internal rotation. And then we're going to bring it back. And now our right leg is still and our left leg, roll the leg in. Internal rotation. We're really stretching out the fascia around the hip flexors. Is it fascia or is it fascia? And then we swap that over. And then we swap it over again. So we've done 2 with the right, 2 with the left. And now we're going to windscreen wipe the knees from side to side. And then just let your knees flop over to your left. And this might, and we're just going to hold here for a stretch, and you can kind of, your arms can be behind you if you want to feel a bit freer. If you want more of a bind, like if you're very bendy or semi-bendy, you can pick up your foot and place it so your left foot goes onto the outside of your right thigh, and we're in a bind. Be careful of your lower back here. Put that foot on the floor, knees over to the other side. And this might be enough for you for your stretch. It's nice to look in the other direction. Or you can pick up your right foot and place it on the outside of your left thigh. And then release. And then bring the knees back. Give yourself a last little squeeze, tucking in, and then roll over onto your side and ease yourself up into a comfortable sitting position. And we'll have our legs crossed. I'm going to pop my hips on a block. You can use a cookbook. So we're sitting cross-legged. We're going to swap the cross to the weird feeling way. You're going to place your hands on your knees, and we exhale and we scoop those abdominals. And then you pull yourself through, lengthening the front spine. Exhale. Inhale, keep your neck long. And then come back to centre. And you want to be really anchored down, root down through your sit bones and feel this sense of kind of lift through the spine. So you want to feel this growth rather than slump. So pressing down, growing up, rolling the shoulders, spread your wings. Palms together, give yourselves a clap. Namaste, everybody, well done. So it's a nice, refreshing session for the legs, that. Lots of inversions, so great for our circulation. I hope that suits, and hopefully I will see you soon. Thank you.